Leah from Leah's Crazy Cake Lab, and I love Valentine's Day. I'm so lonely. Today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable Valentine's Day teddy bear. Let's go. I'm starting with a base. It's 2 tall 6-inch layers stacked and sculpted and crumb iced. If you'd like to learn to make the construction of this cake, it's in the Minion video. I'll link it at the end. Now we're going to start out with the head. So the head is a 4-inch extra deep round that I'm going to sculpt to make it a little more round. I'm sculpting the edges with just a short paring knife, and I'm cutting off about 1/4 inch at an angle to make it round. And notice that I'm only using my turntable to turn it. Next we're going to do the other side because we want both parts to be round. So I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm going to use my turntable. And voila, you have a head. We're ready now to put the head on. So I have 3 skinny kebab skewers for support and stability. A bigger cake could use bigger skewers. I've now put my head on the base, and I'm ready to put the skewers in. So I'm just gonna push it in like this. And my cake's a little frozen, so I'm just gonna push it a little. And you want to leave just a little bit sticking out so that it's easier to take out, but when you cut the cake, the skewers are very easy. They're very easy to take out, so you don't have to worry about any injury. Now I'm going to crumb ice the head. So I'm going to use my quick icer, which makes life so much easier. Now I'm just going to use a small spatula because it's a small cake and it's easier to use. And we're just going to round him out. It's time to put his tummy on. We're going to put it on in an oval in the front. And you can tell it's the front because the cake is offset so that we have room for his feet. And I'm just going to fill it in like this. And then we're going to smooth it out. By the way, I used a size 12 figure piping tip to make his tummy. And now I'm using an offset spatula to smooth it. Don't worry about it being super smooth because it's actually supposed to be kind of like fur. And in this case, we're going to put a heart over his tummy. Onto the feet, I cut out 2 3-inch egg-shaped pieces that we're going to set onto right at the edge of the tummy at an angle. I usually put the smallest point on the bottom. You can see I've already put one on this side. And just put a little pressure on it, push it, because we want it to stick on there. And now we're going to ice the feet. I whipped my quick icer out again to do a fast coat around the feet. Don't worry about it being too smooth. We're going to put fur on it. And now I'm going to use my offset spatula again to just smooth and round and kind of cover just a little bit the cake. But you don't really have to worry, like I said, we're putting fur on it. So just shape it a little. It's time to put his ears on now. So I'm using golden Oreos because they're delicious, but you can use any kind of small round cookie. So I'm just going to push it in slowly and gently so we don't move his head too much, and do it about half, and then if you want his ears a little bigger you can bring it out, but we want it to definitely stick in. So now we're on to his fur, and I'm using a number 21 star tip. If you look at the teddy bear on my blog, it's actually a grass tip, so that's great to use, but today I'm going to try this technique, and we're just doing rosettes in different sizes. When we're doing the rosettes around the tummy, you just want to touch the edge of it so that you can maintain the shape of the tummy. And when you do the rosettes, just make sure that they're touching so that you don't have any space. So I've got the fur all over him except for the face and the ears, and I just want to show you that I do put the fur on the front of his face, and I do the features over it. So now I'm just gonna fill in his ears, and I'm doing just a little line over so they stick out a little more. And then I'm gonna fill out the back. And we'll fill out the back here and make them bigger. And I'm going to leave this part because I'm gonna put pink in his ears. We're working on his cheeks now, but I want you to notice that I switched out to a number 12 figure piping tip so that we get a little definition between his fur and his cheeks. So I'm just gonna stick it in and build. And stick it in and build. And then I'm just gonna put a little chin right there. So we're moving on to his eyes, and I cut out a piece of parchment paper to put the icing in for the eyes, and I just cut off a big chunk of the tip because the eyes are big. And I'm going to use a circular motion, and the eyes are oval shaped. We want the eyes to be really big and adorable. So I'm using the Ziploc technique, which is just the hard edge of a Ziploc bag. I've used it in some of my other videos. And we just use it to round and smooth any rough edges. So there's one for the eyes. And one for the cheeks. So we want his cheeks to be a little bit smooth. And they're a little uneven, so I use it. The Ziploc bag works really well to move the icing the way that you want it to move if it's in the wrong place. Now I'm going to put the blue on his eye, and I'm just going to use an even pressure to put it on, and I want it to be pretty big. So we're going to cover up about 2/3 of his eye. And we want the eyes to be close together, kind of little googly eyes. Now I'm gonna do his eyes and his nose, and I'm using black piping gel, but you can use just regular black icing. I like the way that the black piping gel is, shines. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the blue, and I'm going to cover about 2/3 of the eye. So you can see I put just a little bubble on his nose, or for you decorators, a shell, so that it'll hold up the piping gel. And I'm just going to do a round little nose, or a triangle, I guess. It's more of an upside down triangle nose. And I'm going to come down and make a little smiley. I like to add a little white to his eyes, just to give him a little shine and a little direction. I just used a parchment paper again, and I just cut a very small tip off. And so I'm just gonna do a little dot here and one here. And one here. That got a little out of control. There we go. And then we're gonna add his eyelids. And they're just gonna go over his eyes. Like this. And we're gonna put a sweet little look on his face. So we want him to kind of cover the blue just a little bit. I'm just gonna use the Ziploc technique. We're just gonna do exactly the same as we did before. We're gonna round and smooth. And we're gonna just move the icing where we want it. So I'm just gonna add the pink to the ears, and I'm gonna do it, I'm using my figure piping tip again, and I'm gonna do it in one little circle. So it's about time to start making the candy heart. I wanna do it a little bit in advance so that it can cool down so we could put it on the teddy bear. So our teddy bear is not very big, so we're gonna make about a 4-inch heart. And we want it to be even. And I'm doing it upside down, so it's a little hard, but we want it to be even. And then I'm going to flip it upside down so that we don't get marker on our candy melt. And we're gonna start filling in. So I have my candy melts in a bag, and I'm just gonna cut the tip off just a little bit. So now we're going to outline first. And so outline the heart. And then you're going to fill it in. So just squeeze as much as you can, and you want to do it pretty quickly because candy melts dry really fast. Okay, and then I'm going to smooth with my offset spatula again. And you're just going to stay in the lines here and smooth the heart, and you can kind of manipulate it and push it around if it's not even still. And this one we want to be pretty thick. And then we're going to put it in the fridge to cool for about 5 minutes. So we're going to put pretty pink pads on his feet. And I'm going to make them a heart shape. So I'm using my figure piping tip. And I'm just piping a little heart and filling it out, and we'll smooth it. And I don't know if teddy bears have toes, but I like putting toes. So we're going to put 3 little toes. Little round toes. There we go. I'm ready to put on his little candy heart, and you can see that the back part that we smoothed is not very smooth. So we're just going to use the other side, which is very smooth, and you can place it wherever you'd like. I'm going to place it right here on his feet, like that, and we're going to make arms where he's kind of holding the heart. Now we're adding his little arms so he can be holding the heart. So I'm using my figure piping tip again. And I'm just going to do even pressure, and I'm going to move my turntable around, and I'm going to put his little paws around. And we're going to make just a bubble so that it looks even. And then don't worry, we will smooth it. And his little thumb. So then we're going to do the same thing over here, and we're going to smooth it. As you can see, I smoothed out his arms, and I added an I love you, and now we're ready for Valentine's Day. If you enjoyed watching me make my date for Valentine's Day, please subscribe or join me on my blog, www.leahscrazycakelab.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Happy Valentine's Day! Hi, I'm Leah from Leah's Crazy Cake Labs, and as you can see, I've turned my cake lab into a love lab. And yes, everybody decorates cakes in their sophomore prom dress. I got cake on my boob. How did it happen? Go.